What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the OddsShopper channel, coming to you with a Monday Night Football edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Kind of a weird Sunday. Week 17 here. There was going to be some weirdness. Hopefully you did well in your fantasy football championships. Hopefully you found ways to survive here despite the fact that, Devon Achane ended up hitting eject on pretty much everything. Had a big post over on X once Tua Tagovailoa got removed from the game. Basically, he got ruled out as doubtful, and you knew he wasn't going to play on Sunday. And that was Saturday afternoon. Came from absolutely nowhere. The weather got worse. That total got really, really low, and DTR is terrible. So lots of stuff that is always going to be changing here in these last couple weeks. If you want to get all of the information, go to X. I keep things updated. I let you know everything that I'm betting, exactly when I bet it, and then also you have access to me over on X. At Eric Lindquist, we'll be happy to update you. But here in the homeland of Scottsdale, excited to be bringing you guys the content from here. There are no days off. There are no days off. We're going to keep it rocking here in the NFL streets. So producer Jacob, without further ado, let's get to the picks. Lots to talk about with Detroit at San Francisco. And when I say lots to talk about, I mean, we have a 13-2 Detroit, I almost said Tigers, Lions football team taking on the San Francisco 49ers here. San Francisco 0 to play for in terms of playoff seeding because they can't make the playoffs. That's how that works. But Brock Purdy is playing for a major contract. I said Garudo going to be playing football here to continue to ascend. Is he that guy here coming out of Wisconsin? He looked pretty damn good. Got to say that. He had ridiculous combine numbers, and well, when healthy, he's looked pretty darn good there as well. Jordan Mason, he's on the shelf. Christian McCaffrey, obviously on the shelf. So San Francisco, only 3.5-point dogs here in San Francisco, despite the fact that they're the much worse football team by record. But you have George Kittle, you have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, yes, he's on the shelf here as well. And Trent Williams, we're talking about one of the best offensive linemen in football who's just going to be out for the rest of the season. That's a bummer. It is what it is. But, again, we're talking about one of the more impactful players in Trent Williams there over the course of his NFL career. They have massive splits in terms of their offense's effectiveness with him on the field, off the field. But we also have Greenlaw out on the defensive side of the football. And this is just adding a whole bunch of uncertainty. And we're going to get this game. And it's a nice prequel to what we're going to be looking at all of week 18. And that is uncertainty. And I want to beat that into your head a little bit. Uncertainty. I am 99.9% sure that both of these teams play this first half completely straight up. The Detroit Lions, you go back to week 18 last season, Sam Laporta ends up having an injury that ends up affecting him. He ends up out the divisional round of the playoffs. And then he ends up playing there in the championship round against San Francisco, this very same San Francisco team. Didn't look as effective, and obviously they had the second half collapse that ends up leading to San Francisco going to the Super Bowl. But what I'm saying for uncertainty is in week 18, you'll see guys ripped off the field that you're not expecting. It's usually going to be more veterans or players that they want to put on bubble wrap early. You'll also see players who you thought, hey, they have nothing to play for. They're going to play it straight up. No, they're going to play it completely straight up. And that's kind of what I'm looking at here, because there's one touchdown number that doesn't make sense to me. And it's not even on your sheet here. It was actually the original lock of this program before the end of the Minnesota Vikings Green Bay Packers game. Why is that important? Well, I'll get into that first. But Deebo Samuel plus 175 looked really, really good. I didn't even put it in the lean category because there's a part of me that isn't sure how both of these teams handle it if Detroit puts their team on ice. Now, why would they want to do that? Well, this game is in essence meaningless to the Detroit Lions unless they are trying to really evaluate who they could potentially be playing if they lose to Minnesota at home in week 18. Because in week 18, they play the Minnesota Vikings for the 1 seed in the NFC. The winner of that game, no matter what, 100%, the winner of that game is the 1 seed in the NFC. The loser of that game is going to fall to the 5, 6, or 7 seed based on how things play out. And I've gone through the playoff probabilities on my own. There's no website that can evaluate it. There's nothing that is helping me do that. And I think there's a part of me that thinks you're going to see Campbell potentially pull guys off the field in the second half because of the David Montgomery injury, because of the Sam Laporta injury last season. And it's got me a little bit uncertain about this football game. But Even still, the lock is going to be a full unit play because it already projects as the lock. And then there's the upside of an entire second half or fourth quarter or end of game scenario where maybe it's in doubt, maybe it's not. There are lots of ways where I think you might want to protect your football team, and they go out and sign Teddy Bridgewater, the Detroit Lions. We'll talk about that here as well. But the lean, we're going to start here with the actual plays because that's what you're here for. You're not here to talk to me talking to myself, although some would argue that's what I do anyway. Amon-Ra St. Brown, under 6.5 receptions. I'm thinking about shorting this entire football team across the board. And then Detroit -3. I think they're the much better football team, even though they've had a lot of defensive injuries on the other side. It's pretty obvious to see that the books, again, 3.5, and now it's coming back down to 3. We're seeing -110s, even like as soon as 10 minutes before recording this video. I'm recording this at 8:25 p.m. on the East Coast. It's 6:25 Mountain Time, 5:25 Pacific Time. Again, it just is what it is. I'm all out of sorts, but Detroit -3 is now kind of the prevalent number here, and I think that makes a lot more sense. That half point, can't believe that would be existing out there in the world, knowing that Detroit has everything to play for in Week 18. And in essence, not that this game is meaningless. You have stats, you have legacy, you have rosters in the future, you have, the opportunity to potentially be a 5 or 6 seed as opposed to the 7 seed with a win here. But obviously their record, it's going to move them all into flux here. I think most of the time, Detroit, Minnesota, you're going to see them end up being the 5 or 6 seed. We'll see how Washington and Atlanta plays out. That game just kicking off here, so we'll pay attention to it. Those are your leans, though. Amon-Ra St. Brown going to correlate with this lock in some sort of capacity, but my like play is very much not in doubt because kickers, friends, kickers play the whole game no matter what, and that's why I put this in the like category. It was truly something that, why would we be protecting Moody if we're the San Francisco 49ers or Mr. Bates for the Detroit Lions? Your kickers, unless you just put them into peril where they have to make a block or stop a guy from scoring. And even still, I would probably tell both kickers, get out of the way, don't get hurt, take yourself, be careful. I think Mr. Moody at 6.5 kicking points is a little bit low. This is a 50.5 total. Probably should have led with that here as well because we have Detroit -3.5 here, but 50.5 is a massive total. We are expecting points in this one. And anytime you can get a kicker inside of -120 in those type of circumstances, sure, we do see Shanahan go for it more than the average bear on fourth down. We've got Campbell, we see him go way more for it on fourth down than just about anybody else here. But, if you're getting an implied total around 23.5 and you're getting Detroit around 27, again, that's the 3.5. I think I did the math there correctly, 50.5. It does add up to 50.5. 23.5. I think San Francisco, getting him inside of -115, even -114 at Bet Rivers is a really nice thing. That was my very first click here on this program. Now let's get to the lock here in a second. But first off, if you guys want to sign up for the premium Discord, get all of my plays, Lindy50, 50% off in the NBA, NFL, all of my plays in any sport that I bet. As soon as I bet it, you can get it sent directly to your phone, and you can get it in the Discord. You can also get the OddsShopper app. And when you sign up, and Tails, OS Tails, that is at the top of your screen there, you see it, it's beautiful, it's bright blue. But when you sign up for Tails and my package there, the Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks package, you get yourself, 50% off using Lindy50, but you'll also get the plays sent directly to your phone as soon as they are placed. It is such an important part of the process. I want to get you the most updated odds all the time. And that, friends, I can do in that premium Discord. It becomes $10 for your first week or $25 for your first month. Promo code Lindy50. All right, y'all, let's get to the lock. The name of the day is uncertainty. And again, Dan Campbell got burned by the Sam Laporta injury last season. He has gotten burned directly 2 weeks ago by David Montgomery being out, and Jahmyr Gibbs looked awesome, looked incredible against the Chicago Bears. Probably could have put his foot on the throat even harder than he did. Again, I think there's a little bit of apprehension to have him get all the carries. Now, he had 23 carries, 109 yards, had 4 catches on 5 targets in that last spot, but you go to Craig Reynolds here in these kind of situations, and he had 4 carries, 18 yards, had 1 target as well, played a couple of snaps, but I'm not going to short him purely because Jahmyr Gibbs is so dynamic. And if they do play this game completely straight up, well, there's that. But you could be listening to me later down the line. And I wouldn't be shocked if we saw something in the morning that said, we're just going to play Jared Goff for one half of football or Jahmyr Gibbs for one half of football. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs, considering where that rushing prop is at, I decided not to make him the guy that I'm going to guinea pig this with. No, the guy that I actually bet, the guy that I'm actually following through on, I think makes the most sense. And I talked about Deebo Samuel touchdown earlier a little bit. So you could still maybe look at that. I think San Francisco for the most part, straight up. I think Detroit, Super Bowl aspirations, the best team that they have ever had, bar none. Obviously, they made the NFC Championship game last season. I think they're pretty primed to be in that position again this time around. I think Jared Goff under 250.5 passing yards is a potential slam dunk, can't miss type play. Now, it already projects out around 228 for me, so it's already lower than what it is. And I generally don't throw a ton of unders here. One, y'all don't love them, and I totally get it because, you know, you like to bet things that you want to be cheering for. But two, I'm here to make you money, so it is what it is. I think there's lots of ways where Jared Goff gets the bubble wrap put on him. I'm also going to single game parlay, and I'm about to post this in the premium Discord. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to parlay Jared Goff unders with Amon-Ra St. Brown unders. I'm going to parlay it with everybody, all of the main pieces, Jahmyr Gibbs rushing plus receiving, combining it all together just for the upside where there's a world where, hey, we're up by 14 at halftime or we're down 14 at halftime and, well, somebody gets dinged up on a play, something goes wrong. There are lots of ways that they just pack it in and set up for a home environment against Minnesota in Week 18. Again, do I think that that is in Dan Campbell's nature? No, I do not. But considering it already projects out well, this is your best current play from Detroit at San Francisco. Fire it up on FanDuel, -113 under 250.5 passing yards. And that does it for a Monday Night Football edition, the final Monday Night Football edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks for the 2024 NFL season. Hit that like button down below. Let me know down in the comment section below if there's something you're very interested in betting. Check out NBA Lindy's as well. 7 games on the docket for Monday. Looking forward to firing that one up. I'm going to go head out of here and go watch some Atlanta, Washington. We'll see how this pans out. Want Jaden Daniels to run for 45 plus rushing yards. That would be lovely. Producer Jacob, you're lovely as well. We'll get out of here. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NFL streets on Monday night.